Welcome back, painters. It's Kayleen down at Brushstrokes. Wanted to do another fun video for you, an easy kids class to follow along with. If you're at home and want to grab some supplies, I'm excited for you to paint along with me today. We're going to do a fun, cute little emoji face. So you can make yours different from mine if you don't want to do the heart eyes. You can find your little emojis and pick one out. So you can follow along and do any of those. Today I'm going to do a little winky eye, because I think we all need a little happy winky eye, okay? I'm gonna pick different colors than this one as well, so if you wanna quick grab your supplies and get them all ready, pick out your favorite colors. I'm gonna quick do a run through of your supplies that you wanna have on hand, okay? So, I'm gonna turn you down to look at where I'm working. So we have our canvas. If you don't have a canvas at home, it's okay, you can follow along. All you have to do is grab a piece of paper like this, or if you have watercolors too, you can do a watercolor painting with us today as well. It doesn't need to be acrylics. So I'm going to be doing acrylic painting like I have in my classes. So I just have my colors picked out. You don't need nearly as much as I have on here. So just a little bit for each one, or just leave them in the little pots if you have the little paint pots at home. So I have all my paints that I need for my painting today. If you want to do different colors, you certainly can. Next thing you want to have is your collection of brushes. So I am doing, I'm not going to use all these, but I just want to show that you can grab any brushes you have around the house. Don't feel like you have to use the same size as I'm using, but grab whatever you can, and I'll kind of walk you through it as we go. Paper towel is always good to have on hand next to you. Your bucket of water or a little cup of water for cleaning your brushes in between colors. And then today, a couple extra things as well. Pencil will make it a little bit handier. Another spare plate just from your cupboard, just any kind of plate like this, and like a plate size. And then depending on how you're going to do your eyes today, if you want to do the hearts, if you have a little heart shape you can use as a stencil, you can. Otherwise you can freehand it. Today I'm going to use just one of these little Dixie cups that you can find in your bathroom, or if you don't have a cup like this, just a small cup will work out perfect, or anything that's round like this, because I'm going to do the winky eye, so it's going to have one open and then one closed. So get all your supplies. If you need to pause and go grab them and come on back, you can. It's always good to have an apron on and cover the table if you have paper or plastic, something to cover your table. If you're not working on a crafting table, it's good to have that too. All right, let's get started. So we're going to actually use that plate first, and we're going to do some sketching and drawing. So I'm going to have my plate a little closer to the top because I want to leave the bottom here for my name or a word or anything you wanted to say. If you want it right smack dab in the middle, you can change yours up too. I'm going to put mine a little bit higher so I can leave some room down here. This is where I'm going to grab my pencil and just hold my plate nice and steady right in the middle. You don't have to squish or push too hard with your pencil either. A nice light line all the way around is great. So I'm doing a quick little outline from my plate, and then you can just set that aside out of your way. I'm also going to be drawing in the eyes as well, so and the mouth. So if you want to make sure, if you are doing a stencil for the eyes or different shapes for the eyes, just draw those in. If you want like two closed eyes, those are little arches, really cute and simple. And your mouth, you know, you can do any shape for the face features. So just have fun with it and make it your own. But I'm going to do one open eye, so that's what my cup is for today. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the plate with the little cup, and just do a quick little zip around there to make my eye. And then the other one is going to be the winking eye. So this guy's going to be closed. So when I do this guy, I'm just going to give him a little arch up. You could go straight across. That's easy as well. I'm just going to try to make it as wide as this guy, just a little bit separated, and just make my little closed winky eye. And then I'm also going to make little crease lines, kind of like this, above both those eyes. Okay. Again, play around with it, do a little different, try a couple different ways. Totally fun to do multiple paintings with the same, like have a whole bunch of emojis. That'd be really, really fun. All right, and then I'm gonna do just like a cute little open mouth, kind of like the original, like this one, just an open mouth that's gonna be dark later on the inside. And I want them big and happy because we are gonna have happy smiling faces while we're creating this. So I'm just gonna do a nice big, huge, open, happy smile. I'm just freehanding this, but however your mouth turns out is exactly how it's supposed to turn out. It doesn't need to be the same as mine, okay? So this is what I have on there now. Hopefully you can see everything okay with those pencil lines. And so now we can get started with our painting. So what I want you to grab first is kind of like a medium size brush. It doesn't need to be super big. So I'm going to use this guy for quite a while. The first thing we're actually going to be doing is filling in the yellow of our face. So we don't want to do the eyes first or the mouth first or the black outlining. We want to save those things for the very last. So I'm going to do the yellow and fill that in just solid. So then when I start to like work on the outside out here, we're going to give it time to dry. So when we do the black and everything, it's not going to smear, okay? But we're going to do that yellow first. So I'm going to take my brush, get my bristles wet in my bucket of water, which I always like to have pretty close nearby. So I'm just going to go over here, get my bristles wet, and I like to add water to my paints to thin it out so that you're not using really thick paint. It takes a long time to dry. So I'm just going to water it down just like this. I like to paint my plate. If you've ever come to my classes, you've heard me say, paint your plate. Just add some water and don't start in the middle of your blob of paint. Start on the edge and just kind of pull it off to the side. Add that, mix that water in there real nice and smooth. And then that's what you're gonna use. Just keep pulling here and then you can keep adding water as you go if you need it. So I'm gonna use this yellow that's been watered down and I'm gonna fill in everything around that's going to be yellow. So even the spots that are in the eye and the crease, I'm going to go right over top of them because my eyes are going to be, it's going to be solid black in all these spots. So even if you did a red, like the heart eyes, like the original one, you could still go yellow because after it dries, that red is going to cover it. It's dark enough to cover that light color. So don't worry if you go inside your lines, it's not going to hurt a thing. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is take my time and go all the way around the edge. Get as close to it as I can, but knowing that we're going to do a black outline on it later, doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just going to give it a nice clean edge. If you get lots of little speckly dots, so like little dry dots like that, usually it means you're either A, running out of paint, or you don't have enough water in your paint too to help fill in the little pores on the canvas. Now if you're doing watercolors or working on paper, it might be a little bit different. It might look a little bit different than mine does. So I'm just going to keep working away, fill that all in. I can go inside these lines a little bit. And I like to kind of go in a circle shape instead of side to side. And just work my way in as I'm painting. Again, I'm gonna go right over top of these pencil lines because we're gonna be black later. So the black will cover the yellow, so I don't need to go around them. Same thing with the mouth. I'm just gonna keep swirling around because you can see through this light color. It's very transparent, so it's very see-through. So our pencil lines that are on there, you'll still be able to see them through the yellow. Okay, so I'm just swirling around, just fill it in. I am a fan of making noises when I paint, so if you hear me make some crazy noises, you just do them too, just makes sense. Like, fill in the center, okay? So, once you get that nice and smooth, you never want to have thick ridge lines. I don't know if you can see it very well, but see how thick my paint is right there? You don't want those ridge lines. You want to thin that out. So if you get that, just spread it out, smooth it out, because otherwise it'll take a lot longer to dry. We wanted this a nice, quick, easy project today. Okay. Easy peasy, okay? Nice and smooth. You can still see the lines through there. My happy, smiling guy. Okay, next thing we're going to do, you can either use the same brush, which is really easy to do. You're just going to clean it in your bucket of water because you want to get the yellow off there before you go to the next color. But if you wanted to switch brushes to a little bit of a bigger brush, if you have a bigger area to fill in, you certainly can. I'm just going to use the same brush. Keep it easy. So the way you want to clean your brushes is your bucket of water or your cup of water. Just take your brush and you squish it in the bottom. Don't splash around too much. We don't want to make a mess all over the house. So I'm just kind of squishing to the bottom of the bucket, just rinsing it out. And then I always take the bristles and kind of scrape them off on the side of the tub. I don't smack it or tap it really hard because that makes the water kind of spray everywhere. So I'm just kind of scrape it off like this. And then I always like to take my paper towel and wipe off the excess water and paint. So you can see how some of the paint is coming off there. So when you do this, it does come off on your paper towel a little bit more, but that helps clean it more. So it's okay if it's coming off. Just wipe it a little bit. We're gonna go to a darker color anyway, so it's okay. All right, I'm gonna go from red to purple to blue when I do these colors. So our next spot is where on my original one has the pink. That's what we're gonna do next. So it's right next to our yellow. We're gonna do this kind of bright, almost like a sunburst. So you wanna think a happy sunshine. We're gonna do this bright color right around, and then we're gonna merge into the next color, which on here is blue. Today I'm gonna do purple. So I'm just switching my colors up just a little bit. So just know you can pick any colors think about how they mix together though. So like where this pink is and where it meets the blue, if you did green to orange, those colors right where they meet aren't going to make the prettiest color. It's going to be kind of a brown color. So just think about the way colors mix together. It might not be super pretty. Nothing wrong with brown. I don't want to say there's nothing wrong with brown color, but it might not be the best blending color. So just kind of have that in mind as you're working. Okay, just like before, I'm going to add some water from my bucket of water to my paint. So I'm just have the little watered down bristles and thinning out my paint a little bit. Painting my plate. I like to paint my plate. I usually use the edge, scrape off the excess paint. You never want a big glob. If your brush looks like this and you go right to the canvas, that's going to leave a big old glob. It's going to take a while to spread it all out. So I always scrape off that excess paint before you start putting it to your canvas so that you can have a nice thin little line. Okay, so thinking about a nice bright sunburst. When we start to apply it, there will be a black line that goes around this when we outline it. So this color doesn't necessarily need to touch the yellow. If it does, it's okay. You just might get a little bit of orange if you have still wet yellow. So all we're gonna do is just make right one next to each other, kind of make this bright, fuzzy burst of color. So right next to the line or right on the line, we're just gonna burst it out and we're just gonna keep going, a nice, quick, light touch. And it's kind of fun to get this feathery end to it. So a really, really gentle touch, and then you pick it up and away when you get to where you want it to stop. If I went like this and kind of pushed real hard and then stopped like this, you're going to have this blunt end. So it's going to look like it stopped a little too short, which is okay. But blending the colors together, get a nice feathery end, will help for the next step. Okay, so work on that. Get this first color all the way around. All right, how's everybody doing? All right, there's our first color with red. We're gonna move on to the next color right away and just work our way around. On this guy, I did the blue, which was next on the original, but I'm gonna do purple today. And we do want those colors to overlap. So you can kind of see where the pink and the blue meet here. We want it to be feathery on both ends for the blue this time. So it's gonna be a light touch both back and forth as you apply the paint. So you get a nice feathery end on both sides. And the paint is still wet on here, so it's gonna blend together really nicely. But you do wanna take your brush and just clean off the excess paint. It's okay if there's a little bit left in there. It's not gonna hurt a thing. So I'm just kind of cleaning my brush real quick in my bucket of water and cleaning on my paper towel. And once again, dip your bristles in the water and add some water to your next color, whatever color you chose. And thinning it out, painting my plate. Get the excess paint off my brush by scraping it on the side. All right, and then when we continue on, if you're working on a wrapped canvas like I am, when we get to the edge like this, you can wrap it right around the corner here so that we have it painted all the way around the side. So when you hang it up, you won't have that white edge all the way around. So just go ahead and when you get to the corner there, just wrap it around the side. So you can even start there and feather it in because you know it's gonna be purple all the way to the edge. So you might pick up some of your red as you go. And I like to go kind of a back and forth motion. See if you can see this okay. So as I do this, because my purple is kind of bigger, like the area is bigger, so I'm making it feathery back and forth like this. And so it's going over top of the red. Might pull some of the red through there, that's okay. Red and purple blend really well together. Okay, and try to get both ends kind of feathery looking. I like it when that red blends in with that purple a little bit. Okay, work on this all the way around. All right, there we are with our second color. Now we're gonna move on to that third color that just fills in the rest. So these upper corners, these two little spaces up here, and then the very bottom. So we just clean our brush again, kind of the same steps over and over for the background. So clean my brush out, and then add a little bit of water to my blue paint. That's my last color. And thinning it out with some water. Painting my plate. Okay. Now our last color to fill in. When we do this, anything that's left white, we want to do that nice little feathery motion and fill it all in. Going over top of that purple just a little bit so you don't leave a white outline. Get that feathery pretty end to it. Everybody's will look a little bit different, so don't ever compare yours to mine, what I'm making today, and never compare it to the person if you have somebody sitting next to you painting. You never want to compare because we all paint in different ways. Just like we all look different, we all talk different, we're all going to paint different too. So you never want to compare yourself to somebody else's. That's no fun. Everybody's going to have their own unique way of doing things, and it's all going to turn out just fine and beautiful in the end. Just have fun with it. The more fun you have, the better your painting will turn out. Okay, double check you painted all the way around the edges. Oh, I missed a couple little spots there. So when you hang it up, you won't have much showing for white. Okay. Perfect. All right. So here's my background. I got these fun bright colors that kind of all blend together, one color to the next. You don't have to have very thick or heavy paint on it. Just have a really light, thin layer. It dries a lot faster the lighter the layer is. Okay. So while that's kind of drying, we're going to work on the center and work on the face for our emoji smiley face today, winky face. And then that gives this bottom part a little bit more time to dry. So if you are going to add a word on there or a saying or something fun, we give that time to dry while we're working on this, and then it won't smear the background paint up. Okay, so I'm going to start to work on filling in the eye and the mouth, and I'm doing just solid black paint today, and then I'm going to add some highlights over top of like the eye to make it look like it's open. But I want to find the smallest brush I have. If you still only have one medium-sized brush, that's okay. I'm going to pick a smaller brush, so I'm just going to clean this brush off, set it in my bucket of water. So I'm going to move to a little guy for this next step, but use what you have, okay? Don't have to have an itty bitty guy. You can make it work. Just take your time if you have a little bit of a bigger brush, and don't push too hard. Really light touch will definitely work just as well. Taking this brush, get my bristles wet, go into the black paint, and kind of the same as always. Water it down, thin it out. You get a nice little line if you do it this way. And then here's my little trick for using a tiny little brush like this. When you collect your paint, don't go straight up and down and squish it into the paint, because what's going to happen is your bristles are going to flare out and you're going to have a really wide line. So what I like to do after I've kind of collected a little bit of paint on there, you can kind of see there's a little bit of bubble on the paint. We don't want that. We want it to be nice and thin. So I'm going to lay it as flat as I can on my plate, and I'm going to roll it like this, because that will get the extra paint off of the sides and then help the end of the bristles come into a nice little cone shape. So hopefully you get a nice little line. So what I'm going to do first is just work on the mouth, and I'm going to outline first where my pencil lines were, and then I'll fill it in, and then I'm going to work on the eyes, and just everywhere that a pencil line is, I'm going to outline first, and then I'll fill it in, okay? So work on your pencil lines first. Just take your time, nice and slow. This is a great time to explain my little trick too. If you accidentally get what we call a little whoopsie doops, so where my paint went outside the lines and I didn't want to have it there, I just have this little extra. There are no mistakes, okay? So we just create them into something else. I could cover it up and make my mouth a little bit bigger, or my fun little magic trick is I take a little piece of my paper towel, I kind of rip it off there, and just have a little bit, and I'm gonna ball it all up like this. Just get a nice little pointy end like that. Dip it in my water, and then squeeze off all the extra water, okay? So you're just having this little wet piece of paper towel, and I'm gonna squeeze it tight, and that little spot I need to remove, I just give it a little bit of pressure, wiggle it back and forth, and it will remove that paint where I don't want it to be, okay? See? Ooh, see, it magically disappeared, okay? If you accidentally pull up some of the background color, your yellow, you can always go back with a clean brush and fill that back in if you need to, okay? All right, so I'm gonna continue on working with my outlines and then filling in. All right, there we go with the outlines are filled in. Now I want to do that original pencil line that we did. I'm going to do that black as well to outline the whole face. So I'll do that next. Still with black paint. Keep adding water to thin it out so you get a nice little line and not a thick goopy one. Right, there we have our outline done as well. Kind of just makes him pop out from that background color quite a bit. So we're not done with the face yet, but we're gonna let that dry a little bit more. We'll work on our words on the bottom. I'm gonna do something a little bit different today than I did on the original because I have a little bit of darker colors that I use today. On this guy, I did just like a pretty shimmery metallic paint for my name, but I'm gonna use black paint. And I'm gonna do a word down there today with that. If you like it shimmery, and you do have darker colors, you can do the name or your word in black paint first and then let it dry. Make sure it's dry before you add that silvery stuff over top of it or metallic or another color so that it doesn't smear together too much because it will just turn black. A great way to make your painting dry faster is use a hair dryer. So ask your mom if you can borrow a hair dryer and then you can get this to dry much quicker so you can work on those next colors without it being smearing if it's not quite dry. Mine isn't totally dry on the bottom yet, but because I'm using a darker color over top of it, it's going to be okay. But it just depends on what you're going to be doing. Okay, so I'm going to be doing I think I'm going to do the word happy today, and I'm just going to try to keep nice simple lines. A great thing to always do. It seems kind of goofy, but if you have paper or something by you, you can write the word out in front of you so you can see how big it's going to be. So like right across the bottom of my painting, right on the table, if you have paper on it, you could write the word out so you can see here's edge to edge. Before you start painting, write it out on here so you can make sure you leave enough room for your words, because we don't want to get writing and then realize we ran out of room and you don't have enough space to do the rest of your letters. And I'm working currently upside down, so I think mine are just gonna be kind of cute. Like I don't want to, they're not sloppy, but it's definitely going to be kind of a fun little funky trying to write upside down and backwards letters, and then I'm going to add the cute little touches of the circles to the ends and make it look kind of fun and kind of funky, I guess. Okay, so hopefully that's not upside down or backwards when I actually get it on the canvas. We'll find out. I'm going to use my little brush again, black paint. if you want to let it dry completely and come back later, and then you could actually pencil it on first to make sure that you have enough amount of room. That's a good idea too. So I'm going to just start and just write a cute little happy across the bottom. And then I'm going to take and just make the ends. I'm going to do little circles to kind of make it just a cute little font on the ends of all these guys. Adorable. Hopefully I spelled it right. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Okay, and then little final details is adding a little touch into the eyes to make them brighten up. Now, if you were doing the hearts and you had that red in there filled in, you can do the little corners, little zoop zoop with either white or some pearl. I'm going to use white today since I have it on my plate, and I'm going to clean my bristles because I want to use that little itty bitty brush so I get a nice little line. So cleaning my bristles, getting all the black paint out of there. And then all I'm going to do today, I mean, I could go back over this and add a little bit to it to make it pop out, but I think I'm just going to finish with a little swipe on the eye to make it look like it comes to life and is really winking at you. So I'm just take a little bit of white paint, just a little dab is all you need, and just do a quick little zoop, little swipe on there, or you can do a dot and a zoop. I might do that today too. So I'll show you a little trick as well. So I'm going to do my zoop first, my little highlight. And then I'm going to flip my brush over. I'm going to go to this side, not the bristle side that I was just using. I'm going to use a handle end, and I'm going to take it and dip it in my white paint, like that. And then I'm going to make another little highlight with this, right there. How adorable is that? Oh, I love it. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, so I have my little happy winky face all finished up. If you want to add your own little touches, like maybe you want eyelashes or maybe you want a tongue hanging out, have fun with it. Make it custom to you. And then the best thing to always do when you're done is kind of bring your happy face up and have your mom take a picture of you holding it like this so you can be the happy emoji face. Okay, thanks for joining me. I'm going to try to keep making videos for you, and hopefully if you have requests, if you've been in here before to the store, or if you've ever been to one of my classes and you want to see a certain painting, tell your moms to send me a message, okay? This is Kayleen at Brushstrokes. I don't know what other information you need from me. Tell her to send me a Facebook message to Brushstrokes Art Supply. I can get a Facebook message or my email, brushstrokesparty@gmail. Let me know if you have any requests or if there's something you want to see me with or make. I'm going to try to do different ones very soon. Thanks.